And the article goes on to talk about how prosecutors are also afforded unique legal protections. They have immunity from civil liability. You can't sue them. And it's almost unheard of for a prosecutor to face criminal penalties for something he or she did in court, like knowingly putting a lying witness on the stand or withholding evidence that points away from a defendant's guilt. How could that happen without any kind of consequences, without any kind of reprimand? If they knowingly put liars on the stand and they're knowingly holding evidence that points away from somebody's guilt, how could that go unchecked? And yet it does. And all of these podcasts kind of lead up to this, underlying theme. How these things do take place and the general public's not aware of it. They have blinders on. They don't know that all this is going on. So when they step into that courtroom, the jurors, they feel that everything is on the up and up. Now, in theory, they have to follow the same professional code as other lawyers. And if they don't, it goes to the Bar Association or ethics panel. But the statistics don't support that. The statistics show that when complaints are brought, nothing really happens. They get off free and clear. They have no repercussions, no reprimand, no action is taken when they're wrongfully prosecuting somebody and they're putting people away based on evidence that isn't accurate and based on liars, based on informants who are actually lying. They're powerful because they make big decisions about people's lives, in the criminal justice system. And they influence what happens to those people in the community. They should be held more accountable than almost anybody, within the justice system. I mean, if they're bringing charges and they're going to go forward with a case, you would think that they want to make sure, even for themselves. What does that say about somebody if they knowingly know the evidence is weak and they knowingly know that an informant they're putting on is a liar and they go through it anyway and they go through the process anyway? What does that say about their character or who they are as a person? Where you don't have the evidence, you don't have the case where you could support what you're claiming, and yet you push it through and you bend the rules and you put liars on the stand. What does that say about your moral compass? And really, because of the Supreme Court, basically granting immunity against civil rights laws where it relates to prosecutors and U.S. attorneys, even when they do engage in misconduct, that's why it has such an impact, where they feel they have free range. They know there's going to be no price to pay. They know that there's going to be nothing that they have to answer for if it comes to light that the convictions they obtained were based on false evidence or misleading, false statements, liars of supposed informants. They know there's nothing that, they're not even going to get a slap on the wrist. They're not even going to face anything. So what do they have to lose? Outside of just your own personal constitution and what you believe in, there's really nothing to hold them accountable. And if they are of poor character, it really doesn't matter.